Hello, I'm Dr. Cheryl, and welcome to Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl. The theme of our show is raising the awareness and consciousness in the relationship with wealth and applying unconditional love. Always remember that your present situation is not your final destination. The best is yet to come by Zig Ziglar. Irrespective of whether we are believers or agnostics, whether we believe in God or karma, moral ethics is a code which everyone is able to pursue by the Dalai Lama. I'd like to start with a little joke. A little boy wanted $100 badly and prayed for 2 weeks, but nothing happened. Then he decided to write a letter to the Lord requesting the $100. When the postal authorities received the letter addressed to the Lord, USA, they decided to send it to the White House. The president was so impressed, touched, and amused that he instructed his secretary to send the little boy a $5 bill. And as this would appear to be a lot of money to a little boy, the little boy was delighted with the $5 and sat down to write a thank you note to the Lord. It read, "Dear Lord, thank you very much for sending me the money. However, I noticed that for some reason, you had to send it through Washington, D.C. And as usual, those jerks deducted $95. Our special guest this evening is Norma Zamit. Norma is an intuitive, as well as a clairsentient, clairvoyant, clairaudient, and a natural sound healer. She has been using these inherent abilities, applying them to the field of energy psychology to help others for over 35 years. Norma has trained in many aspects of physical and emotional healing, beginning with the studies of abnormal and child psychology at Queens College in Flushing, New York. She is certified in emotional code, matrix energetics, the body talk system, Seikeen Master Therapist, Reiki, and Regenerus. She has a unique ability to utilize and integrate these to optimize an individual's growth and well-being. As a Master Emotional Code Practitioner, ECP, Norma is able, with amazing efficiency, locate and effectively release blocked or suppressed emotions that have been limiting the individual mentally, emotionally, and or physically, sometimes for decades. The result is a happier, more energized being who has an enhanced awareness of what is truly important and a much larger sense of who she or she really is. In addition to her one-on-one private lessons, usually via telephone, Norma lectures on energy dynamics and their many applications and will be publishing a book on this subject. She also conducts introductory workshops on sound healing using the human voice. She resides in Marin County, California. This is the second segment of a two-part discussion with Norma. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, Norma. Gosh. Is there any other wonderful examples that you can share, just as another example for the viewers?
Okay, yeah. This is an interesting one. This couple, this woman came to me and she was thinking of breaking up with her boyfriend. She was so angry with him, and so we started peeling it away. And I'm tracking with her energy, and the moment she said, one of the things I'm really irritated with him about is he tore up the kitchen, he hasn't finished fixing it. He's torn up the bedroom, he hasn't finished fixing it, and now he's doing the living room and he hasn't finished fixing it. And as she's telling me this, I can feel her energy is building and building. And I said, wow, you really are angry about this. She said, yes, it's very frustrating and so forth. But then I got that there was something more going on, and I said, what is it exactly about what he hasn't finished that's bugging you? My furniture is all outside in the garage, and it's covered up. And I knew that was it. I could feel it. I said to her, so you're really connected to your furniture energetically, aren't you? Mm. Well, of course, it's my furniture.
Oh, wow.
I said, so by any chance, do you feel, because you feel he's mistreating your furniture, does you feel like he's mistreating you? Bingo. Oh. She was so connected to her furniture. Whoa. It was, and the way he was treating it, neglecting it, not getting it back in the house so it wouldn't get weathered or whatever. She felt a personal offense. So I taught her how to bring her energy out of her furniture, back to herself, out of the rooms, back to herself, and all of a sudden she wasn't mad at him anymore. And she was amazed that she had created all of this upset because of what she was connected to her furniture. The
projection of that connection to her furniture.
Another quick example, this guy had a Corvette. He loved this car, loved it. He felt like a man. Girls looked at him and, it's cat meow. Well, one day he parked it and somebody totaled it. Oh, God. He came out and he was devastated and in shock. And he took a dive, a personal dive. And the bottom of this was, he was so connected to that car, it was an extension of him. Mm. And when that car was totaled, his sense of self was totaled. Wow. He lost his identity, his respect, everything. So I had to slowly explain that to him and have him bring his energy back from that car, wherever it was. Yeah. And he willingly did that, and he felt better, he looked different. And he couldn't believe he did it. He couldn't believe he was that connected to the car.
It's an unconscious thing, isn't it?
I said it's something we do with everything we own. We commingle our energies with it. It could be a book, a ring.
Right, right.
I could commingle with this chair, and if I get really commingled with it, I become one with it and it with me. Well, that's good and bad. If something happens to it and you don't know you did that, then it's like you've been affected on a lot of levels, mind and body.
Bless you for helping these people get a grip on that and understand that so they can detach, in a healthy way.
Yeah, people, when they die, they won't even cross over. They're so attached to their stuff.
Oh, that doesn't feel good.
It happens.
Good. Yeah, yeah. Well, my goodness. I'm sure you have other stories that you can tell. Can you? You're on a roll.
All right, let me think of another one. All right, I got another one. This happened 2 months ago. This woman, I've given her a session or two before. She called, she said she had two things, and one of them was her mother had passed away 2 months earlier. She couldn't stop thinking about her mother, always having her attention on her mother, can't stop thinking of her mother. And as soon as she told me that, because I was connected to her energetically, she was on the other side with her mother, wow, holding her hand.
Wow.
And I said, here's what I'm getting. Not knowing how she's going to respond, I said, you crossed over with your mother and you're still holding her hand. I said, she doesn't need you to do this. She's fine. She's resting. You need to be back here. She's okay. She really is. She came right back, and what was wonderful was she was aware enough that she could feel the difference. And she said, I can't believe how I feel. My God, she said, I had no idea I did that. We're infinite beings with infinite possibilities, yes. And now you're learning more about yourself.
Yes.
And then we were discussing her job. And she was having trouble with her boss, and there was this misunderstanding, and we cleaned it up, and it was fine. But that was very interesting that she did that. She could have been there for months and been thinking about her mother here on Earth.
Wow, she's not in the present moment like we need to be in the present moment.
Yes, and she wasn't present because she didn't consciously know she went to the other side.
Yeah, see, all that unconscious, that's why it's so important to be aware of your unconscious, your habits that you do automatically. When you do things automatically, that's your unconscious working. And then if it's not healthy, then you can change that. Mm-hmm. Once you're aware of it from your unconscious, your subconscious mind. And I talk about that with your money factor, or relationships, It's really so simple, but it becomes more complicated because of the emotional part of it. We get connected emotionally, and that's a little bit more difficult to be aware of.
Yes, a perfect example. Just recently, today, this fellow had a lot of focus on money. He's trying to make this deal go through, and I cleaned off some emotions attached to it, but there was something else there, and I got it was a belief. I said, "What is your belief about money?" I said, "Start just telling me, and I'll check each one, muscle test it." He said the second one was the bingo. Money is evil.
Ooh, yeah,
I said,
that's
"Do
very
you
common.
think you're ever going to allow money to come near you?" So we looked at, why do you think money's evil? Why? Well, look at what people do to each other, and he's listing these things. And then I said, but the way he said it, he was making money responsible for it. And I got him to see how money doesn't do anything.
No, energy, that's, yeah.
I'm trying, all these thoughts are coming out at once. What I got him to see was that money doesn't do anything. It's the people, as you know, who handle the money.
Right.
And that the way he was talking, he was making money the responsible for what people were doing.
Right, exactly.
And I said,
Blaming
the
money.
people treat money like that and do awful things because they're coming from limitation of thinking.
Yeah.
I said, it's an inside job. If they knew they had all the power within them, they wouldn't have to do that. So to make this, I could say a few more things on it, but that's the core of it. I said, would you be willing to let go of this belief? Because all of a sudden he started seeing, it's not us, it is the people. Oh, okay. So I said, would you be willing to uncreate it? And he said, yes. And he uncreated it, and I checked, yep, he left the energy of that go. I said, what's the new belief? Money is good. I said, how does that feel? He says, it feels natural. Then I ask, are you connected to it? Yes. But there was still something there, I could sense it. And I said, here's what I'm getting. I'm getting you don't feel comfortable leaving the old paradigm of the way people think about money and going over to this new paradigm where you're the creator. He says, that's right. I said, would you be willing to leave the old paradigm because that'll wake them up and it'll serve and strengthen this new way of thinking?
Right.
He said, yes. His energy shifted. I could feel it. He realigned himself, and it was like, this burden had been removed.
Well, obviously, all of these clients, people that you work with, obviously feel comfortable enough to change their thinking and their feeling towards things, because you are helping, you're assisting them in that, you're giving them the tool to do that.
I'm going to add something to that. I create a safe space for them. The truth is, they're the ones, I could be the best healer in all the galaxy. If they don't want to change, they'll do one of two things. They'll undo it somehow. Somehow they'll undo it, or they'll resist it even after the session. And I tell them that, you can undo all of this if you want.
Right, right. By falling back into the old habit of feeling and by falling back into the old pattern.
Yeah.
That they.
Yeah. Choosing to go back
stay.
Again. Or you clean up the pain in their shoulder, and they don't want that. They'll go and create a pain in their knee.
Yeah, well.
So, you just offer them a safe space and the opportunity to wake up, like your show, wake up.
That's right.
Wake up to your abilities, and what do you want for yourself, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give you the opportunity, whether you don't have to do this, but I don't know whether we have about 10 minutes left. If you want to keep sharing your experiences with your healing, I would love to hear that. But I also want to give you the opportunity about communication.
And
I don't know about communication We did an exercise, and I don't know whether you want to do that or if you want to. I'm giving you.
Yeah, because I use it in my healing. Communication. People are as powerful as they are willing to communicate. So I'll use us as a demo.
Yes.
So I want to communicate to you about this glass of water. So I have an idea that I want to send to you. So I am going to be clear-minded on what I want. Okay, I'm going to tell her about this glass of water. Okay, now I'm getting ready to do that, but I want to make sure I have your attention. Yep, you're looking at me and you're nodding your head. You're ready to receive what I'm going to send.
This is just to just slow down a little bit. This is just an example of some clear communication. I just want to, for the viewers, I want to do this transition so they understand what's happening.
Yes. And then I'll show how I use it in my healing.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so Cheryl, this glass of water you left for me is so appreciated. I'm even going to have a sip. And it's just what I wanted. So
you're welcome.
I sent it over, and you're nodding your head, received it. I could have said, gee, I really appreciate this glass of water, and I'm glad you didn't get that. So if I look at you, you're like, or thank you for this glass of water. I really needed it. Yeah, I'm really glad you thought about giving me this glass of water. I'm directing my line of communication everywhere but to you.
Right.
People do this all the time.
Yes.
So it's like a loop. I have this idea with intention. After I have your attention, I send it across the space with intention.
Right.
You acknowledge it, and then you start a loop back if you want to, or that's the end of the communication.
So don't you think that really one of the most important keys about communication is eye contact? Because when you have that eye contact with someone, they're more apt to hear what you're saying.
Absolutely.
And unless you're, if you're looking off into the space or
they're
something.
They're reading a book, they're watching a football game, you don't have their attention.
You just can't, but you've got to make sure that they are ready to receive.
Yes, and there's another part of responsibility for me. If I ask you a question and you don't answer me, I need to keep asking you until I get my answer. Some people will ask, and if they don't get an answer, then they walk away. They didn't complete the communication.
Right.
Right? So now I'm giving a session to somebody.
Right.
Okay. My intention is to be there totally for them, creating a safe space, and perceiving what they're going to communicate to me, and I am going to do a good job of sending my thought and question over to them. So I send it over to them, and I know they get it, because I do most of my work over the phone. They give me an answer.
Right.
If I hear nothing, I say, did you hear what I asked?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So what's happening over there on your end?
Yes.
I'm thinking. So now I got my answer. So
Okay.
I wait, and they don't say, have you come up with whatever you want to say? Yes. Do you think you could tell me? Yes. And then they tell me. So that's one way it could go.
Yeah.
But
don't you think, too, that you almost have to say, did you hear me? Even when you and I are sitting here talking, if you don't respond, then I need to ask you, did you understand what I asked you?
Exactly. Don't assume.
Yes, well, we know what that does.
Because maybe I'm sitting here, I didn't quite get something, and I'm too embarrassed to ask you.
Oh, yes.
So you're covering your responsibility by saying, did you hear? Or however you want to phrase it.
Right, yeah.
That's right.
I mean, that's very important. But intention. So my intention would be for me to ask you a question and to get an answer from you.
That's right.
Or vice versa.
That's right.
Yeah.
You just did a great job. You were present. We were both looking. You had my attention with intention. You sent it over to me. I got it. I acknowledged you. End of the cycle.
I mean, it's really so simple. But it seems to get very convoluted at times.
That's right.
If you both aren't on the same page, it makes it more challenging.
Yeah.
You have to reel it in.
Somebody will ask, I could ask you a question, and you could nod your head. That isn't the answer, really, but I'm taking it as the answer, and then you don't do what I ask you to. And I said, but you said you were going to call and make reservations. I didn't say that. Well, I saw you nod your head. Yeah, I was nodding my head because my neck was stiff.
Oh, see, yeah, that can get, you know, misconception.
So I just took the nod as a yes, walked away, and that was it.
Yeah, and that happens a lot.
Yeah, so that would have been good if I said, well, you know, and heard it with my ear.
Yes, it's important. Communication is the key. Oh my gosh, to every relationship, it's the key.
And when you think about it, if two people are mad at each other, and one of them stops communicating, you can't resolve anything.
No,
and the other person is left holding the bag.
Yeah.
How are they going to explain anything or heal it or resolve it? Because the other person is so angry or whatever the emotion is. And they said, I'm out of here. And end of the conversation.
Yeah, oh gosh.
It's an awful place to be.
Yeah, it is.
Because everybody wants to usually heal things, you know?
Right, right. So, oh my gosh, our time is really coming down. Is there anything, since we're coming down to the end of our time, which has been 2 sessions actually, is there anything that you would like to share from your wisdom point of view with your year's experience?
What would I want them to know? That people are magnificent creators. Most of us don't know how magnificent we are, and that thoughts are things, they're powerful beyond belief, and that something that people take for granted is the power of choice. And if they were willing to use their power of choice, they could change their life in many ways. But
so
most people take their power of choice for granted, and they don't even think, they say, well, just one of me, what am I going to do? That's all it takes is one person to change something.
Can you expand on the power of choice? Can you can you explain what you mean?
Yeah. Power of choice is knowing there's a situation presented and you can make choices. You're not stuck with one choice. You could ask yourself what else is possible, which I learned, and how does it get any better? Or just say, gee, I don't like this. What other choices could I choose?
What's the best choice?
That's the best choice for this situation.
Yes.
And simply putting that out there, all of a sudden you might think of something else, or just realize, wow, I can do something here. I have more than one choice here. Most people think they have one choice. Mm-hmm. And they forgot.
The limitation. And we don't. We have a multitude of choices, really. I mean, well, that depending on the situation, but there's usually more than one choice.
And that's what some people want most of us to forget about, that we have choices. Because if people got together and used their power of choice for betterment, change would occur.
Yes.
They're using their power of choice. Oh, a good example is somebody's putting out an inferior product. Don't buy it. Something's too expensive, don't buy it. Then they'll either lower the price or they'll get better quality food. Mm. People, if they really understood that and used it, see, they don't use it as often as they
that's
should.
Being conscious. You have to be conscious in order to do it. Don't live in the old unconscious ways. Bring your consciousness to the present now time. And when you can do that, then
the last thing,
much easier.
We have a choice. We can be in the past, the present, or the future. If you're in the past, you're not in the present. If you're in the future, you're not in the present. The present is where all the power is.
Yes.
That's when you're so present, you're like a laser. You're just there like a ninja, ready to go. And you can get answers with ease and grace.
Yes.
You can know things easier.
Yes.
You can see things more clearly because
Yes.
you're right there in the moment.
Yes.
And when I'm working with a client, or if I'm working with somebody because I might want to get some assistance, I can tell if they're present or not. And that is so dishonoring to somebody, to have them be with you and you're even socially and you're checked out.
Yeah. it's rude, actually.
Yeah.
You know, but they're unconscious, so they're not aware of it.
But if you call them on it, they become conscious. I notice your mind is somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, well, you think you want to stay there? Because if you are, I'm leaving. Power of choice.
That's good.
No make wrong, just hey, I'm
yes,
choosing.
yes.
I'm choosing. You can stay where you are. I'm going to go get a drink.
Thank you so much, Norma.
You're very welcome so much for this
sharing,
opportunity.
And I really appreciate it, and I think our viewers will appreciate this as well.
Hope so too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll leave you with this. Self-discipline is a form of freedom. Freedom from laziness and lethargy. Freedom from the expectations and demands of others. Freedom from weakness and fear and doubt, by H.A. Dorfman, American Mental Skills Coach. The Four Agreements, by Don Miguel Ruiz. Be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of your own dream or illusion. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstanding, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy versus opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Never give up. First, be aware and conscious of your thoughts and catch yourself before they come out of your mouth, especially the negative thoughts, into words, and it takes being sedulous, persevering, and disciplined. Be grateful for whose you are and where you've come from and what you have, and be grateful for your freedom and eat healthy. Good nutrition feeds the mind and your body temple, and don't forget to exercise. Feed your spirituality with meditation and prayer. Thank Spirit. Love yourself unconditionally. Stop criticizing, stop judging, and allowing others to dominate the way you feel and think about yourself. Be compassionate and share your abundance and wealth with others. When fear knocks, let faith answer the door. Wealth is the ability to fully experience life, by Henry David Thoreau. Thank you, Marin TV, for facilitating our show, and especially to my crew, Eric, Brad, and Ginger. Thank you. Please support and become a member of Marin TV. Bye for now. Until next time.